This is the Dueling Piano Players Podcast, episode 14. On this podcast, we discuss 4 important concepts for pacing your show. Welcome to the Dueling Piano Players Podcast, where we help you get the edge in the dueling piano world. I'm Johnny K.
I'm Joel Randolph.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going, Johnny? Good to see you.
It's going good. Good to see you too, my man. Good to see you too. We had a nice little talk with Tommy Keys the other day. Got some good feedback. Thanks for getting on the site, you guys. Thanks for commenting. Hey, really want to talk about our forums real quick before we get into today's topic. You know, we want to know what you guys think, what you need help with, what kind of stuff we can give you, what kind of material that you're looking for, and all you have to do is go to duelingpianoschool.com, click on community, and you'll see what we got there. We've already got I put up our own duelers complaints forum, Joel.
Nice. Yeah. I thought that was just a connection to the other one.
No, not on Facebook. That came up with our own. Everybody's got a need to vent every now and then. But we got podcast show ideas up there, so let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about on our podcast. Dueler complaints, the dueling piano concept. We'll answer questions in there about the general concept. Drums, Brian V is going to chime in the drum section. Anything you need to know about drums, Brian V is our drumming expert.
And hey, Johnny, we remember we just talked to Aaron yesterday, who is taking our core 50 song list and is going to be putting up some ways of how to play those songs on guitar in a dueling piano format. I've noticed a lot of guitar players just go ahead and play the regular guitar parts that are on the song, and that does not sound right when both pianos are already playing those parts. So he's going to offer some ideas of how to make a guitar blend for the average musician that isn't necessarily an extensive guitar player. So we have that to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Aaron is a hell of a guitar player. I've gotten to
and a very good
him.
teacher. Very teacher.
Yes, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. He's one of these old dogs that's been in the game for a long time, and I think having him as an addition to this site's going to be cool. You know, which reminds me, when am I going to get off my butt and do a bass lesson? I need to do that soon. There's a lot of guys that are throwing bass. I know some of the band-formatted clubs, they got bass in there, and they could use a little help. So stay tuned for that. I think coming up in May, we're going to get some guitar and bass stuff on the site. And so go over to the group forums directory, duelingpianoschool.com, click on community. And let's get at it. 4 simple concepts to help pacing in your show.
All right.
Yeah, pacing's very important, isn't it? We got to set up the night for success. Everybody's got to be successful, and throughout the night, you got to be able to pace your show properly. And so we got 4 simple ways to start doing that, and these are just little things you can think of that you can start doing right now. Like, for example, it's a request-driven show, right, Joel?
Well, that's what a lot of people say, and that is certainly what we tell everybody, but that would be a false. The show is not request-driven, and this is a good way to start this conversation out because by the time you're on stage and playing, you are the professional. You're supposed to know what makes the show turn out the best. The audience does not. God love them and God bless them, but the audience does not know how to have a good time. That's up for us to do. So when you're thinking about how the night goes and somebody sends up a particular request, you need to look at what's going on with the show and what is it that's going to be coming up, what have you already done, and what needs to happen right at that moment. Just because somebody gives you, $2 for a song doesn't mean you should play it. There's a lot more you need to look at. Wouldn't you agree, Johnny?
Absolutely. And we're saying the requests do not have to dictate the show. I think if you go back a couple of podcasts, didn't we mention something about having your head in the game?
We did.
And I think you need to know your strengths, know your partner's strengths, know your other team's strengths. And when you get a request for She Bop Baloo Bop, She's My Baby at 12:30 at night. Maybe that's not such a good call. Maybe the requests don't always have to dictate the show. They're very good to have in there. In fact, I like to think of it as a radio station. When I worked at a radio station, we had a program log, which is basically, here are all the songs you play for the next hour. And then we would say, if you have a request, call up the show and let us know what you'd like to hear. We'd like to hear Brown Eyed Girl. Well, lucky enough for me, it's in my program log coming up in 3 songs. So this is going to sound like an instant request.
That's a great way to describe it.
Since I'm already playing the song, hey, by request, this one goes out to Jack out in Fallertucky, Indiana, or whatever. Just because the requests are coming up, yeah, you want to play the request. You want to honor people's requests so that you are letting them know that you are playing requests, but they do not dictate the show. But what about it's 7:30 on a Saturday night, you got 4 people sitting in the bar, and somebody gives you a napkin to play Piano Man. What do you think about that? Do you play it?
Well, I know the standard answer is that you're going to get lots of requests for that, and so you don't blow a big song on a $1 or $2 or even free request. However, you need to have your head in the game. If you've played a club long enough, you should be watching for ebbs and flows in your audience participation. And generally that's because of groups that come in and go out, or just because of how often an audience can pay attention. But I know that we have 3 distinct audiences on our weekend nights and at least 2 on our off nights. And they are both going to want to hear Piano Man. So don't deny one audience hearing it because you're saving it for another one, and don't deny it for one because you already played it for the other. I say that those people that come out early are usually just venturing out to check it out. They may not have been there. They may not come again. So let's show them what we do. And Piano Man is a big song, so hit them in the face with it. They might come back on a weekend and spend a lot more money and bring friends because they had a great time. If you just sit up there and play She's Always a Woman for them instead, they're going to think it's the piano bar exactly like they thought it was. Bunch of Moon River and Misty, and they're not going to come back because the food wasn't any good.
Right. Oh, I love that excuse, too. Why don't you come back? The food wasn't any good. So rule number 1, or concept number 1, I guess, for this is requests don't dictate the show. Number 2, very contradictory. Play the requests. Just because the requests don't dictate the show, play the requests. We got Piano Man in Margaritaville. Oh, that'll sound so much better in 2 hours when you're drunk. Yeah, but it'll sound good now, too. Do it now. Do some of those. It's okay to throw a big song once in a while. You are trying to get the crowd to request songs. If you don't play the requests, what usually happens? They don't request anymore. Well, hell,
yeah, you got that. You got that right.
And if you want to make money, then you got to be able to play some requests. You got to be able to cover requests. The idea is cover the requests. Try to cover requests, and then you're going to get more requests. But don't let your requests dictate the show. That 1 and 2 go really hand in hand together.
Yeah, and here's another example from the opposite end to describe what we're talking about. I played a club with some fine duelers, but not necessarily the greatest musicians as far as piano playing and singing. They had the show down, did a good job, certainly carried their weight. But they were trying to play every song, especially when the laptop craze hit, and everybody whipped out their laptops and would just look up the lyrics and fire away at a song. And, you know, for that $2 on a Thursday, what they're thinking is, I want to play that person's request because we're supposed to. Well, not only did those people not like the job that they got for their $2, but everybody else got to listen to mostly a night of not very accomplished musicians trying songs they'd never played before. Those people certainly did not come back on a Thursday, and they weren't interested in having anything to do with what we did on a weekend either. So to make that $2, which those nights translated into roughly 66 cents a piece, we lost the club, you know, an unlimited potential over the course of years because those people just don't come back. And you have to consider playing alternatives. You want to keep their tip money, of course, but we don't know that song. But here's another song from the 60s. Pow! Or here's I don't know any Chuck Berry, but boy, I got this, Great Balls of Fire or Shakin'. You can play something that's in place of it.
Something very similar to the genre, the decade, or even the artist.
You got to consider that first and foremost, you have a show to do. And while we want to make it look like it was random and simple, it's far from that. But following these concepts can certainly make it simple, but you are directing the show. You know what needs to be done. If somebody requests Piano Man like we discussed, is that a good idea to do right now? Would that be a real treat for these people to hear a song that they all know because they didn't like anything that you played so far? Then, yeah, play that song. You know? And, well, heck, even Fly Me to the Moon might be a good one to pull off. But you certainly want to acknowledge the fact that they gave you a request. You never want to insult it unless you can pull off doing it in fun, and that takes some skill. So, try to stay positive with it. Oh, that's a great song. I really don't know what it is. Thanks for your request, though. See if you can choose something else for us that we might be able to play for you.
Sure. And, try to stay away from tip whoring. If you want to get some more requests, we were talking about the old line of, oh, this is a great song, and it came up on a napkin. If there was only something to jar my memory, you know what? Don't do that. That's not going to help you. You want to get the edge in this. You want to be the best. You want to do everything right. Then don't just sit there and keep demanding money. The more you demand money, the less you're going to get it. And we talked on, I think it was our last podcast or the one before, about where you just do such a great job. People just come up and throw money in your tip jar because they say, hey, thank you very much. We didn't have to work for the entertainment that you're giving us. We didn't have to tell you what to do. We didn't have to come up and be creative. You did that for us. Here's our money. We'd love you. Thank you. You get a lot more mileage that way.
I agree 100%. And there are some ways to train your audience that they are allowed to tip, and maybe even indeed expected to. But again, in that residual income, they don't want to feel like you're raping them for their money. You can get it from them, and then they don't want to come in there and give it to you anymore. Or you can just do a good job, and they will give it to you and come back with more money next time. And that's all a result of how to use the request that you're given, and how to use those big dog requests that you want to save till it's big, but you can strategically place those. We talked about a bag of tricks in our podcast with Tommy, and Piano Man can belong in a bunch of different bags. It can be sing-along. It can be a song that gets everybody to pay attention to you again after they haven't been, or it can be an early night song. It's just nice for people to listen to that they might recognize. Different ways to use a different song.
For sure. And you know what? I think we started talking about tip whoring. Boy, that's a whole nother podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
I think we could. Tip generating without tip whoring.
That kind of did lead us into another thing that I think ties into all of this pacing of the show, Johnny, and that's talking. Not only do we play and sing, but we do a lot of talking, a lot of times too much. And I think it's important that for people coming up in the business, and even people who have been in the business a long time, might need to hear it refreshed, and hopefully we'll get some comments from some of those people. But it looks like if you're new to the business and you've been watching some guys who've been doing it a long time and do it well, it looks like they're just up there gabbing away and saying all this funny stuff, and oh my gosh, this is great, and you want to get up there and do it. I've even had owners and agents tell you got to get up there and be funny. Please understand, very rarely does that happen, that you just get up there and be funny. Most of the time, you're causing yourself problems, and that's where you're going to get the, Johnny, I found that picture. We should post it on the site. That's where you're going to get the napkin or the stick drawing of the guy saying blah, blah, blah with the circle with the line through it. It is not random speech up there. It is not improvised. If you're one of the lucky people who can do that, then go ahead, but you still need to follow these concepts. Short and sweet. Know what you're going to say that, and then shut up. Play another song.
And know when to say what. We use the example of two guys on stage with a drum set. One guy jumps back to play the drums, and now it takes him 30 seconds to get 2 feet from the drum set to his piano, sit back down, look at his request, figure out what he's going to play. So that's a really good time to, hey, folks, don't forget about Thursday nights. Come on in. We got drink specials. In fact, you had mentioned to me before about actually printing something and taping it down to your piano so you have something to read, even like one page with 5, 6, 7, 10 different things on it that you have something to say. That way you're just reading it, and you don't have to be creative on your own to actually think of it. You can speak properly.
If you want your team to look good to the club and put a bonus in their pocket, have your entertainment director, or approach your entertainment director and say, hey, what night are we trying to push? For example, our Thursdays are slow right now, and we're focusing on that. So right now, just everybody is making an announcement about Thursday. Every announcement that you hear for the next 2 months is going to be about Thursdays.
Thursday.
So we don't have to remember, and tip your wait staff. It's amazing how much you have to remind people to do that because they just forget to. It makes a big difference. Your staff will love you, and your bar owner will love you, and not only that, but it helps you come up with something to say so you don't have to write a new speech every time there's dead air. You can say the same one again.
Oh, that goes back to 2 other podcasts ago where we said, hey, keep everybody you work with happy and you will be the king of the club.
Increasing your value. That's what that was.
Hey, those work all together. So, yeah, know what to say, know when to say it, know specifically what things to say where, and get in and get out. And if you're trying to set up a bit or you're trying to set up a song, think about it before you actually open your mouth, because the sewage that pours out of your mouth, you're not sitting back there at the back of the room watching you. We are. And
blah, 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 blah.
There's just no need to do it. In fact, everybody's going to sing it this time. Okay, are you ready? Okay, everybody go. Okay, now sing it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, or like we said before, you can just look at them, and if they know the song, they'll sing it. There's a lot of tricks that you can pull off without talking too much. People did not pay the cover to sit there all night and listen to you talk about something they don't care about. They came in to be entertained. And if you have the gift to gab, by all means. But, that takes a long time to develop that skill.
We could go on and on and on and on about it.
Oh, yeah. 8 years ago when I was opening my mouth and you were writing me those little drawings with the blah, 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 with the line and the circle. And now I'm pretty good at it. But,
the picture I have is the one that I drew on your erase board down there in Orlando.
Oh,
is that still up there?
No, that's been erased several times.
You had a better idea, did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just tried to get a little bit more organized. As I look at it right now, I go, there's my weekly schedule. Wake up, work out,
Nice.
wake up, work out. Haven't done any of that.
Speaking of weekly schedule, Johnny, one concept that's been passed down from dueling pianos, I think one team came up with it. It doesn't even matter where it came from now. It's like the holy grail, ancient talisman of dueling pianos. But that's the pie chart for how to, and different people have taken it and made their own doctrine from it.
Sure,
and
like the clock
we'll leave
hour.
it up. Yeah, we'll leave it up to you to talk with your specific clubs about how they want the thing split up. But the thing for the new person to take away, and for the veteran that might be listening to this to refresh some things that they already knew, is that you need to look at how long is your set, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. How long are you playing? What things do you know you need to accomplish because you were hired to do them? Does your club do show times? What time is it going to be? Are you playing it or is your partner? Well, you know what song you're doing at 11:30 then. So you know that probably about 15, 20 minutes before that, there needs to be some kind of interactive piece. About 15, 20 minutes after that, there needs to be some kind of interactive piece. Probably at least one point in there should be a big showpiece number that shows off all the musicianship. Usually that's at the changeover when your other team comes up on stage. And then somewhere in there, you're going to want to play the songs that you know you're going to play that set. So the first thing you do, you pick out the 4 songs you know you're going to play: birthday, call down, showtime, and changeover song. Then look to see if what's requested. Are any of those requested the other big tunes that you know you're going to play that set? If they are, no brainer. You're playing that one. If they are not, set those requests aside. Play the songs you know you have to play. And then when you have a little space left over, play one of those other requests that's sitting there.
Sure.
It really makes your division of your set bam, bam, bam. It's that quick. You can sit down and know what you're going to play for the next hour if you divide it up that way.
And you can divide it up into 10-minute things or 15-minute things. So quarterly you have something going on, like 2 or 3 rockin' songs that everybody sings along to, and then insert call down, and then 2 or 3 rockin' songs, insert slow ballad song that nobody needs to clap and sing to, and like you said, a showtime, or and then the same thing. And you can just look at it. You can draw a circle on a piece of paper, make a cross in the middle of it, and then figure out where you want to put everything, just like a pie chart, clock hour, whatever you want to call it. And then you can just follow that kind of format, and you get some rise and fall with your show. It gets interesting. It keeps the crowd interested, and it trains them throughout the night to know what to expect. Okay, we're about to rock. If they hear a slow song and you have trained them for 3 hours that you're only going to hear a slow song once, and then we're going to go back to rock, and then they know I'm either going to sit and enjoy this, I'm going to talk to my friend, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm going to order another drink, or I know that I don't have very much time to go outside and smoke a cigarette before I got to come back in and sing Living on a Prayer because I know I just requested it. It's another great way to train your audience. It's another way to keep the flow going and keep the energy level up in your show.
When we talk about your bag of tricks, as you draw that pie chart or clock, hour, and break it up, I've actually seen some players that put up a list, and it's a good idea. I've just been too lazy to do it myself. But they have their top 20 songs of each type of category. I know these funny call downs. I know these slow songs. I know these powerful sing-alongs. I know these rock and roll tunes. I know these country tunes. And if you were to take your song list and break it up like that, and then take the pie chart and break it up like that, you can pick songs almost like out of a hat, cut them up, throw them in the hat. Okay, I need a rockin' song, draw one. There we go, is Tush by ZZ Top. Padow. They can sing along with it if they want. We'll just play some solos in it if we want, but damn sure they're going to be tapping their foot. Okay, Showtime. I only know 2 of them, so it's going to be one of the others. Four Ways. I only know 2 of them, so it's going to be one of the other. Your set goes so fast, and that's why you break your song up into a bag of tricks like that, because it makes it so much easier for you to choose what goes where. And I want to reiterate, then if you see that those songs are requested, that's when you play that request, because they're going to request some of those songs. They are. So just say that they did anyway.
Right, exactly. So let's try to recap real quick. Number 1, requests don't dictate the show. If you get a really strange request at 12 o'clock at night, you may not really want to play it. It's going to affect your business. Think about the entire crowd.
You got a show to do. You put the request that you get into that show. If they don't fit in the show, then do something else with it.
Number 2, play requests. Play it even if it is $2 or free for Piano Man at 7:30 or American Pie, and they want to hear the full song. Don't charge $1 a verse like I've known people to do. That's a really good way to lose the rest of your tips instead of making more. You're trying to make $1 when somebody would have just given you 20 anyway. So play the requests, and like I said, those first 2 items kind of contradict themselves, but you get into it, you'll know what we're talking about. Number 3, talking. Know what to say, when to say it. Have something good to say. Don't talk too much. And number 4, select a format that you want your show to follow. Have some consistency and have a leadership role in there. Have somebody leading it and saying, just follow this and it will work, and everybody stick to that. Don't just be random and drunk and stupid and all over the place. Follow a format. Get yourself comfortable, whatever room that you're in. Make sure it works for your room. And we try to mention this once in a while, but we're not the be all end all do all of dueling pianos. Everything that we're talking about works for us, helps us get the edge. This is why we get very well paying gigs, and this is why we have crowds and bars full every single night. We know what we're talking about, but this doesn't necessarily work in every single room. Take the knowledge that you're getting from these podcasts and from this website and tweak it to your own style. Take what you can understand and use it in your room, make it fit for you, and then the rest of it, just go, these guys are idiots, they don't know what they're talking about.
And tell us about it. If you found that you used something that you found on here but tweaked it a little bit to apply to your situation, let us know. Share the wealth, brothers.
We would love to hear from you guys. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We have some new email addresses set up. Joel and I both have our own email addresses. That's on the front page, actually right underneath this podcast on the website, duelingpianoschool.com. Mine's simply Johnny K at duelingpianoschool.com. Joel, yours is Rock and Roll Joel 87, I think, at duelingpianoschool.com.
Yep.
If you got some comments about the podcast or you'd love to hear more in the podcast, you can email us at podcast at duelingpianoschool.com, or go to duelingpianoschool.com, click on community, and talk about the forum in there, the podcast forum. Give us your comments. Let us know what you'd like to hear. You can also comment directly on each episode of these podcasts. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd like to hear what's working for you and what's not working for you. I already know I've talked to a couple of guys that have been taking some of the stuff that they've been learning on the site, in the school, and applying it in the gig, and they've noticed just tremendous results. Some of their EDs are saying, wow, what have you been doing for the last couple of weeks? You've just gotten that much better. This stuff works. It's been working for me. It's been working for you, Joel. I've noticed that just being a part of this and talking about it every day and getting on this website every day has been conditioning my subconscious mind to actually be a little bit more alert and thinking a little bit more about the principles that we're talking about. So even if you have been doing this a long time, just hearing it over and over and over again kind of reminds you when you're on stage, hey, this works, it's important, and it's good stuff. And so we'd like to hear from you guys. Let us know how it's working, and we'll see you next time on the podcast. Oh, and one more thing, you guys. We are also on Twitter. You can follow us at Duel School. So follow us on Twitter at Duel School, and that's right on our website as well. I think that's all I got. You got anything else, brother?
No, that's it.
DuelingPianoSchool.com. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace, y'all.